And welcome back to McRaeathon Presents Blast from the Past 2000. I got it right this time. We are a 2-day speedrunning marathon held here on the McRaeathon and NSG channels. Through the power of the internet, we're bringing you 2 full days of racing goodness from the comfort of our own homes to yours. And we're raising money for Get Well Gamers UK, a registered Scottish charity operating around the UK, dedicating to bringing electronic entertainment to children's hospitals, hospices, and other facilities for the benefit of entertainment and pain relief. So a fantastic cause. We are going to head straight into our next run, which is a bit of Monster Racer by Thrasher. Take it away.
Hello, I am ThrasherDBS. I am generally a racing game speedrunner, and I just wanted to bring you guys some holiday cheer since it's October, it's the spooky month. So, little bit of a cult classic kind of thing, especially in particularly the Spyro speedrunning Vortex kind of community, is just kind of like an in-joke kind of run, is this PAL-only kart game, Monster Racer. So, gonna get into the run here. So, moment time starts is after I hit X on this, so I'll go ahead and count us down and we'll start the run. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and go. Alrighty, so we are off and running. So, little bit of history on this as a speed game. So, this was released in PAL regions only, so only Europe. So, Americans didn't get this, Japan didn't get this. Basically, it's one of these kinds of bargain bin kind of, in the PS2 era kind of PS1 games, where everyone. This was released in 2001, so around this time we were already moved on to the PS2. We've already got we've got Gran Turismo 3 had released, that kind of thing, and Gran Turismo 3, Ace Combat, all that kind of stuff. So, pretty much, this is just kind of one of those seasonal kart games made by, it's a company called McRaeathon, who later went on to do a bunch of other different things that caught them success, but this was one of those games that was kind of in the interim when they, before they were acquired by another outfit that, got them onto bigger and better things. So, bigger. So, really quick here, whenever I get that big pot power up at the very top, a tradition is to yell out "Big Earn" whenever we get that power up. So, I will be interrupting myself throughout the run whenever I get those. I don't really get them a lot in these sorts of runs, but whenever we do, I'll just interrupt myself on that. And it would be great if, chat could join in whenever one of those power-ups comes up. So basically what that is a speed boost. So they come in about 2 flavors in this particular game. So the green one is the small urn. So that pretty much replenishes, the entirety of the boost meter, but the boost meter, it's kind of like a medium style boost, and it doesn't last as long. The big urn gives much more of a boost. Like, I go significantly faster with it, and it lasts a lot longer. The thing is with this is it needs to, as you can see, my character is starting to turn red a little bit. So basically that's an overheat mechanic. And if I'm on this boost for too long, your character kind of does a little explosion, a little spin out, and basically you lose the rest of your boost. But as you can see, we're almost done with the first track. There are 20 of these tracks in total in this run. So most of them go anywhere from like 2.5 to about 3 minutes. There's one in particular towards the end of the set that's around 6 minutes. But yeah, basically these are 25-lap races, relatively quick. So there's 10 tracks in this game. On the 10th track, that's a boss race against one of the boss characters. So the first one is Gigaton. He's the kind of little toady of the main villain. And then after you win that race, you basically do all these tracks over again, and they're all in reverse. And then that's capped off with a boss race against the character's name is Master, and he's essentially this flying demon thing. So, regarding this particular run, so typically the load times are incredibly long, but in the interest of fairness, between people who are on console, people who have FDS, or different emulators, which emulate at different speeds depending on which one you have, all this run is essentially running off of IGT, so in-game timing. So, in the interest of moving things along and making sure we don't necessarily fall behind on schedule... I ran into a mine. So we don't fall behind on schedule, I have sped up the loads a little bit on this to kind of be more close to PS2 FDS. But, yeah, so... in general... I'm pretty sure you can see just a lot of just the kind of vibe of the whole experience here. So, right now, my emulator is telling me that this game is running at 17 frames per second, which, I mean, even disregarding that it's a PAL game, that is kind of on the, you know, slow side as far as frame rate goes. But, yeah, the speedrunning community for this just kind of picked up around 2021. So the Rixer, or Ricky, as you might know him, major figure in the PlayStation speedrunning community. So one Halloween, he decided to forego just streaming like Silent Hill or Resident Evil or something, and picked out this silly game to just kind of do a run of, just as, you know, for the memes, for the laughs, and basically just kind of showed it off to, you know, his whole fan base and, you know, his viewers and all that, and it was a fun, grand old time. One of the viewers was, I don't know if any of you know Ash Kalevra, used to be known as Ash Riel, but they're a major figure in particularly the Spyro speedrunning circle. And they checked out the game themselves, did a run, and before long, a lot of us were doing races of this very game. And it's just one of those things where it's just like, you're just kind of drawn in by, you know, how kind of sketchy the game looks, how, you know, the clear quality that's, you know, poured into this game and all its programming and everything. But yeah, it made for really good racing nights, essentially. Just, you know, be in a call with a bunch of friends and just, you know, speedrun this game together, see who's, you know, who wins in the races, that kind of thing. So, from there, a bunch of us kind of joined in, and one of our friend group, you might know him as Derek Lander if you've been in any other kind of PlayStation speedrunning circles, especially regarding like the Sprash Fectas or anything. So he kind of documented the early history of this this game as a speedrun. So if you look up on YouTube, Derek Lander, Monster Racer, proof that any game can be a speedrun, he's got a good 40-minute documentary style video on it. That's a really good, entertaining watch. So I highly recommend checking that out when y'all have a chance, if you haven't already. But, yeah, so as you've noticed, I've been just kind of haphazardly throwing away a lot of just power-ups and whatnot. And a lot of these are just so I can get big urns and whatnot for the speed boost, because the boost is key in this game. So there's several different things you can pick up out of item boxes. However, unlike, say, CTR or Mario Kart, there are things in these item boxes that can hurt you instead of help you. So you've already seen me get affected by a handful of them already. So whenever I don't know if, let's see here. I don't know if you've seen here's a good example. So this right here basically reverses my steering inputs. And it affects them for about 5 minutes. And there's the other one. So having reverse controls affects you for about 5 seconds. And basically it's really disorienting. And if you ever happen to fall off a cliff, you lose the indicator at the very top that lets you know how long the power-up's active, but it will still be active. And you'll run the chance of running off another cliff or running into another wall or something. The other one, as you saw, was essentially a flashbang kind of type thing. So naturally you're just blinded by a big old flash of light. There's a way you can kind of cheese that. If you pause the game when that happens, the flash effect will wear off, but you won't have to worry about really running into anything. But in the interest of moving it along, I just want to keep going and just kind of go off of memory of what's going on and, knowledge of the tracks. I've done enough runs where I reasonably know how to tackle these tracks. But for a new player, probably very disorienting. So, but yeah, here's essentially just the gist of the game. Oh, big urn. So, up to this
Getting
point,
a very Mario Kart sense of this game, by the way.
Right.
Mario Kart with Halloween.
Yeah, and it's a very good kind of seasonal kind of game to get together with. Ricky, who I mentioned before, has hosted a handful of races of this game last year and at the start of this month as well. They were just kind of big get-togethers of let's just get together and do Monster Racer, because word spreads a lot, just to kind of, get some people running the game. When that documentary dropped, that was about April of 2023, and around that time we had 14 runners on the board. We have essentially gone up to 81 different runners of this game.
Oh, wow.
So it's definitely had quite the it's definitely been around in the community, in the general speedrunning community. At one point, we had more active runners than Crash Bandicoot 3 and Crash Bandicoot 2, and I think a handful of the Spyro games as well. So it was very much something that had a lot of us enraptured at one point.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. So, I mean, I definitely recommend all of y'all watching that, even if you're, not really keen on speedrunning, or if you're a casual viewer, or if you run other things, I mean, I'd still recommend giving this game a try. Because, I mean, at its heart, if you're in a call with friends, it really winds up being a fun time. Also, don't know if y'all saw the level name, but yeah, that is what the level's actually called. It's Egypte, which is just Egypt with an extra E at the very end for some reason. Just goes to show you the amount of polish that went into this game. But yeah. So what I just got hit with there is a power-up that that everyone else can use, especially when they're behind you. You can't get it when you're in first place. But essentially, I mean, as you can see there, you get small, you get shrunken down, your speed slows down to a crawl, and there's nothing you can really do to reverse that or combat against that. I mean, even the like shield power up you can get doesn't protect against it. So no matter what, it hits you, and you can't boost out of it either. Like your boost will just get, you'll spend your boost and still not accelerate anymore. Then you're slowed down to. So there are a bunch of different, potential characters in this game. There is one very obviously the best character to pick in terms of stats. If you're going by other people's runs, all the stats that you see on the character selection screen, they lie to you big time. Way back when, somebody actually managed to data mine all the actual stats of everyone and put that in a spreadsheet, and that's in the resources tab on the game's page itself. So really interesting kind of, it's amazing the kind of digging that one of our players actually did in this game. But yeah.
I have something I actually do want to ask, because you mentioned earlier that the leaderboards are done by in-game time, which obviously is clearly tracked in the top right.
Right.
Do you have to manually add up like each race, or does the game have like an inbuilt way of saying?
Nope, you have to manually do each race, and specifically the time, like right here, the time that freezes right up there, because the time that gets spat out on the results screen is different than what we measure. So it's specifically the time right when you finish the race. I don't know why there's a discrepancy there, but yeah. The moderators are dedicated enough to where they will literally calculate all that for you. But to be nice, I always manually calculate it myself and then submit it with the IGT.
I would do the same.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, we're always, very happy to see new people running the game, even if it's just a token run of like, okay, been there, done that, I did the meme, now time to go back to whatever it was I was doing, kind of type thing. Current world record holder is Ricky. Way back when, we had one runner named Cartoon Kid that was absolutely just cracked at this game and had like really good luck. Oh, Big Earn. Just really good luck with all the power-up draws and everything. And just, it would be, oh, another Big Earn. It would just be constant, just trading words back and forth between one of us and then him. And he even got in on some of the races himself, but he would be one of those folks that would actively grind out this game, on his own time, just by his lonesome, which displays incredible dedication to this 2001 obscure PAL-only kart racer game. But, props to it. I mean, he's definitely a very skilled runner. Haven't really seen hide nor hair of him in a while, though, unfortunately. But yeah, definitely a great runner and a pillar of this game's speedrunning history.
Yeah, that's fair. I was looking at the leaderboard just now, actually. I thought I'd have a quick look. And
Big Earn.
Oh, nice. I scrolled down and I got to 34th, and I was like, there's 20 people on one submission. I was like, what happened
Okay, so the story behind that. So Ricky really loves promoting this game, as do a lot of us, hence why I entered this into this marathon, considering, usually McRaeathon, we do, just standard fare racing games, which I love. It's my home genre of game. But then I saw that submissions were allowing kart racers, and bigger. I just had to just submit this particular game. I had thoughts of I could do Gran Turismo 3, I could do Need for Speed Hot Pursuit 2, and then the kart racer thing. It's October. We got to do Monster Racer. We just have to. So here we are on that. But yeah, so the story with that big submission. This past ESA in Sweden, so there was a lot of specifically PlayStation speedrunners there. And basically Ricky had this big idea of having us do, well, us, I wasn't there, but basically the entire PlayStation Nation crew do a relay of this run. So all 20 people did one race in this 20 race run. So that's where that whole thing just kind of arose from. Which honestly,
That's pretty cool.
yeah, it's really good, bigger. It's really good from a community running kind of standpoint. Like, it really draws us all together, that kind of thing. Not necessarily. Yeah, go for it.
I was gonna say I saw a lot of familiar names. I was thinking that looks like a marathon type thing. So that is cool that everyone got together to do that.
Yep. So, this has been featured at one of the GDQ hotfixes as well in a race format. So that one was between me, Ash, and Derek. Ricky was supposed to be part of that, but unfortunately personal commitments kind of got in the way and he couldn't make it. But otherwise, I mean, it was also a really good showing there as well. So this game has made the rounds a little bit. So...
Nah, that's fair. I say marathon, like, meme games is always fun. Like, just seeing people set up like a one station for people to just do runs. Yeah, I've seen it before as well with like Lego Harry Potter, Battle of Hogwarts, like that was the meme game of ESA for a while.
Right.
This, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
just seeing people get grabbed like, you come here, come play this.
Yeah. Yeah, I haven't been to one of like the major speedrunning events or whatnot, so I imagine it's quite an experience, like in person. But yeah, if one of these days I wind up at one of those, you know, would be neat to see like what the big meme game of that particular event is. But yeah.
Yeah, would be cool to see other people, new people at Marathon. So, but I say, whilst I am here, I say let's switch my hat over to hosting for a second, and let's talk about the charity that we're here to raise money for, shall we? So, Get Well Gamers UK is a charity that takes donated video games and consoles to hospitals, hospices, and other healthcare settings where gaming can provide a power-up across the United Kingdom. So video games are an effective and proven pain management tool, providing much-needed entertainment for young people during long hospital stays or in circumstances in which recreational activities can be beneficial. And Get Well Gamers UK are currently linked up with over 140 hospitals and organisations across the UK. So it is an absolutely fantastic cause. If you would like to donate, then there's a few different ways in which you can do it. So you have the link below the stream. We have a big donate button. You can do !donate in chat, or we have very kindly pinned it as well at the top of chat as well. So you haven't really got to do it, just click on the pin message, send us a donation, use the incentives as well. We currently have one open for Need for Speed Carbon for you to choose the car color. So get your donations in, choose your incentives, and let's just raise a lot of money for a great cause.
That's honestly a really cool kind of charity, hearing you describe that, because that's just one of those... It's really feel good that, you know, you guys are able to contribute to that sort of... I'm not very articulate, I'm sorry. But it's really cool what you guys are doing here, and I'm thankful to be part of it.
Yeah. We're thankful for you having here. But yeah, it's an awesome charity. Like just seeing like some of the things they do, just, you know, taking consoles in for kids who are going through like some of the worst of times, and, you know, just to kind of take a moment to say, you know, be a kid, you know, enjoy some video games and just, you know, do that, because sometimes you forget that when they're going through things like that they're not getting to be a normal kid. You know, they're in hospital for long periods of time, and it's horrible. So let's give them something to, try and cheer them up and, actually help their pain as well, because like that's one thing people don't think. People see video games, oh, they're terrible, they're influence. Like, no, they actually have good influence as well. Like, they actually do reduce pain.
Yeah.
Until you can't beat a certain level, and then all of a sudden it's like, no, I hate this game.
Yeah, absolutely. Then, your Wii remote just kind of accidentally goes through the TV, and you have to awkwardly explain it, and it's just a mess.
Yeah. It's like, I just couldn't beat this one level, so I kind of broke the TV.
Right. Well, in terms of difficulty on this particular game, there's no real reason to play this game on medium or hard, especially in the realm of the run, essentially. So, as you can see, I'm running up against the other players, or the other AI drivers, and they're all just... I'm always lapping them. It's relatively easy to pick up. So... I reckon it makes it pretty accessible for anyone who just wants to just casually throw down a run. So... yeah. This here is the shortest track in the game, and Big Earn. It's one of my favorites because it's short, but it's also relatively interesting. I feel like based on just the aesthetic and also just the way the layout is. But very quickly, 2 minutes, and we're out of there. Iceberg. On the other hand, a lot of people really don't like this one because, unfortunately, the geometry is kind of confusing. This will be very, very pertinent when we do the reverse versions of all these tracks as well. So, there's particularly one spot where it looks like you can drive on, but no, it's a big old invisible wall and you'll get kind of trapped there. But, yeah, as you can see, definitely a very wide variety of different locales. And, different archetypes of, or, different biomes and such. And yeah, this is one of the ones that kind of look like it suits Digo, who... Whoop, off we go. Who, he's an abominable snowman, so obviously this place is kind of his home or whatnot, but... based on his steering, that's the only thing I can really complain about with this guy, because it is maybe a little on the stiff side, so maybe one of the more frustrating parts of just, playing this character. So...
was that mammoth that was frozen in the ice had really big eyes, I just saw that.
Yep. It's nice that it's like it's supposed to be like, oh, it's supposed to be around Spooky Monk, but there's still, there's still comedy involved.
Yeah.
I can't remember what the actual lore behind this game, because yes, this game actually has lore to it. It's detailed in the manual, which unfortunately I do not have, because, well, I very legally obtained this, wink wink. So, somebody with a physical copy in the UK with the manual intact and everything would probably be able to really divulge all the lore in this. But essentially, just a whole bunch of these folks just kind of just start racing, and there's this evil guy and his little servant, and there we are. Yeah, King Europe has the manual, so he would be a good resource on that. So, him in chat. So.
Definitely not just Googling the game now to find out what sort of lore I can find online as well.
Right. What I'm amazed is this thing has an actually sort of more detailed TV tropes page than I would have imagined it would have.
I'm on that page right now.
Oh my goodness.
That's what I just found.
Yep. Yep.
Okay, so let's read a little section of this for people. So The setting of the game is Halloween, a realm between heaven and hell where many monsters end up for not fitting in elsewhere. The manual and the back of the box differ in the explanation as to why the monsters race against each other. According to the box, they do it for the fun of it. According to the manual, the race is about collecting lanterns by winning races to earn the right to compete against the forces of darkness to re-establish access to Earth to celebrate Halloween. That's a very intricate little plot for a 2001 racing game set during Halloween.
Yep. But I mean, that's wild though that they even thought that far ahead. Because I feel like,
Yeah.
I mean, they're like, it's 2001. Kids already have their newfangled PS2s and such. So, what the heck? We'll just throw together a whole bunch of spooky looking characters and just have a little kart racer and maybe sell it for, I don't know, 20 quid or something.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, this would have come out like pretty much at like the start of the cycle of that like new generation of consoles, wouldn't it? So like that was kind of the thing that was happening.
Yeah.
So I remember like the first few like PS2 games where there's a lot of racing games and then like action adventure games were the main two. Like I remember like this has like a very much, now I think about it, like Wipeout style as well, like with power ups and obviously racing. So Wipeout was just becoming a thing around that time, wasn't it?
Yeah, late 90s or so, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. I never really got into Wipeout personally, but I know like the people that are fans of that really go hard for it.
Yeah, I played one of them, which was like but when I got my PS2 for the first time in 2002, Wipeout Fusion was the game that I got.
Right.
And yeah, super fun, but not a series I've actually gone back to since.
Right. My first experience with Wipeout was, you remember like the 2011 PS3 like hacking thing or whatever? Like PSN got breached and Sony was like, we are so sorry. Here's a handful of games. Pick whatever two you want. That was one of the... Wipeout HD was one of those, and I tried it out, was terrible at it, and just kind of went back to Gran Turismo 5, so...
Yeah, that's fair. Actually, tell a lie. Actually, no, I bought the Wipeout collection that came out a few years ago. I actually liked it, but then it was like, not really my thing. I'll be honest, like, racing games for me, it's like, I do like some of them. There's some that I don't like. And it's not my go-to genre, but it is one that I will dabble in here and there.
Right. And that makes sense for, a lot of folks, because it feels like in a lot of different areas or whatever, outside of, some of my friends' group, I'm just the token car guy or the token racing guy. Like, sure, there's going to be a few things that people will be like, oh yeah, I know what a Toyota Celica is, or, I know what Laguna Seca is, but otherwise it's just kind of, it's just like, sorry. Watching my language here. Just Thrasher just blabbing on about cars or whatever. But, yeah. So, as you can probably notice by now, this is the longest track in the game, so a lot of the races we just did would have wrapped up by now, but we are currently on lap 3. So, Teeth Pass is my other favorite track, if by virtue of, sure, it's long, but it's also relatively interesting at the very least with how it's laid out, especially with this little spiral here, which, if you feather the gas, like, you'll make it through relatively smoothly. But a lot of the times, I've seen a lot of runners get caught up on this particular section of the track as well. And usually, they kind of complain about 5 laps around this is pretty long, especially considering what they're used to with a lot of the other races here. Whew. My voice is maybe not appreciating the fact that I've been yapping for so long. But
I'll
yeah,
try and fill the gap for you, so I can give you a mini break.
No worries. But yeah.
But yeah, I can see what you mean. This track is ridiculously long. Like it's weirdly, like you say, compared to the rest of the game, this is actually very much a long track. Because like you mentioned earlier that like this track is like what, about 6 minutes, but then the other ones are like maximum of like 3.
Yep.
So to take that jump on one track is pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. That said, this is also very polarizing, since most people I know either really like this track or they really hate this track, and usually the length is a deciding factor on that. But, I mean, a race that takes about 6 minutes or so, in a lot of other racing games, like especially Gran Turismo, where I'm used to tracks like Le Mans or the Nürburgring, 6 minutes in terms of a race isn't really all that long, just in general, but definitely from a relative standpoint, yeah, it's a little, does kind of overstay its welcome, or, you know, I can see how some people would say it overstays its welcome.
Yeah, it's like when you do things like Le Mans and the Nürburgring, it's like you kind of expect it on those sort of things. It's like it's kind of based on real life tracks, of course. So
right.
But then when you play a kids game, like, you know, Monster Racer, you don't want to be stuck on the same track for 6 minutes.
Right.
Like, you want some variety.
For sure. Plus, you know, kids and attention spans and all that nonsense.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. It's like, it's kind of why you kind of look at kids like racing games and you think that that's why the tracks are so short, is because, like you say, the attention span is kids don't normally want to spend 6 minutes on one level.
Yeah. I think I remember, like, when I was, like, 11 or so years old, when I booted up Gran Turismo 4 for the first time and got my first taste of the Nürburgring. Like, you know, I drive it, and it's just like 4 minutes on, I still haven't completed a lap. I'm like, wow, this is taking forever, and I just exit out.
Yeah.
So, yep. But we are on the 10th track now with the Teeth Pass all wrapped up, so this means this is a boss race. So where the past few races have been just a case of, oh, just make sure you have enough points to, you know, progress on, that kind of thing. This one, you just straight up just have to win. If you don't, you gotta retry this over again. Which, we're on easy, it's gonna be a walk on the park. So, but yeah, that is Gigatin. He's not available as part of the normal roster. So the way you're able to play as him under normal means is basically beating the whole campaign on medium, and Master, who's the final boss, you unlock by beating the entire game on hard, naturally. So we do have New Game Plus. We do have New Game Plus categories for this game, plus a cheat category where through Game Shark, you can literally just have it so that you're constantly just bigger in the entire way, and so it trivializes the rest of the game, and you can use whatever character you want. So naturally, people are going to use the final boss character because his stats are quite literally perfect. Except because of how this game is kind of programmed, having perfect like steering and whatnot, if you're used to having to kind of lead into turns and kind of compensate for it, like the instantaneous like left and rights will actually kind of catch you out until you get used to it as well. But yeah, right after Teeth Pass, Volcano's kind of a breath of fresh air, or, you know, feels a lot more shorter than it is, just simply because of what you just came out of. But yeah, we're on the 4th lap here. So pretty soon here we'll be on the back half of this whole run. And as you can see, based on the difficulty, I'm already about to lap the guy. So one of these loading screens, I need to probably sip on my drink a little bit. And left. Okay, cool. Yeah, I really hate having that, having the reverse controls power-up pop up on me, because it's really a pain in the neck. And that is the first half done. So, we are back to Botanic Garden, the first track, except this time we're going to be going in reverse. So, pretty much, game's not really going to get really all that harder on the back half of this. So, trying to remember if there's any other fancy little tidbits I can bestow regarding this absolute masterpiece. So, the first ever run of this game that, made it onto speedrun.com was done by, at the time their name was CyberDemon. I think they changed it to something else, but they pretty much did one run and called it good. They had no idea that there was a boost mechanic to this. So naturally, they're pretty low on the board, but unfortunately, the first time I ever tried a run of this, I didn't have the benefit of knowing any of that or, a manual to consult to be like, hey, there's a boost thing, because there's not really a whole lot in the game that tells you, how to boost or whatnot, unless you, cracked open the options menu and, oh, here's what the controls are. So, a lot of my first run with this was, A, done with an unoptimal character because we hadn't yet ascertained which character was the optimal one to have. But yeah, I had no idea that this even had a boost mechanic, and so it kind of wound up being a little on the challenging side, because you just sat there just running at the same rate as your opponents are. And so you're just kind of hoping, oh gosh, am I going to stay ahead of them? Are the power-ups going to cooperate? Can I, keep ahead? But once the boost mechanic kind of rears its head, then you just zip past everyone just easily. So, any donations on the docket? Question mark.
So, we don't have any donations, but I can just provide some more information to everyone as well. So, don't forget this week, our stream is also being restreamed over on the NFG, so we do thank them for their continued support of McRaeathon as well. If you wanted to check out some of NSG's events, they have their next event coming up, which is NSG Spring 2026, which is coming up from April 24th to April 26th. It still sounds weird saying 2026. It doesn't feel like we should be that close to that year yet, but we're only less over 2 months away. It's actually pretty insane. Also, if you want to get any updates for when our marathons go live or when your favorite runs are coming up, then go ahead and follow us on Blue Sky. So it's at McRaeathon.bluesky.social. You can also join our Discord server as well if you haven't already. And we also upload all of our previous runs and this event run, of course, as well, over on the YouTube channel. So you can get all of your McRaeathon content wherever you may be. So go and check it out, join the fun, and come and join a great community.
Absolutely. So, what, if you don't mind me asking you, what sort of games do you run in particular?
So predominantly I am a Harry Potter speedrunner.
Understood. So,
yeah.
Are there just certain installments you run, or do you pretty much just run everything in the whole series?
I run everything in the whole series. I'm one of only 4 people to do a full series run, which is 23 different games.
Oh my gosh. That's a lot.
So, yeah, there's a lot of different games. But yeah, I have dabbled in other things as well. So like Lord of the Rings. What else have I done? A couple Power Ranger runs, like Power Rangers Time Force on PS1. Mm-hmm. And a bunch of other ones as well. So like a couple of Red Dead Redemption, Undead Nightmare runs. I just dabble because I want to submit to other marathons. So obviously I submit a lot of different things.
Absolutely, and I also kind of relate to that as well, because my own speedrun.com page is kind of a smorgasbord. Now, naturally, there's a lot. It does skew heavily towards racing, but there are so many like games I grew up with, so primarily it just kind of focuses around like old platformers and such like that, and sometimes just perusing the PSN store and finding like a silly whatever game for like less than $1 and just kind of going, oh, what's this about? Oh wow, this looks terrible. Let's speedrun it.
Yeah, this looks terrible. Like SRDC, what sort of run have we got? Oh, it's like 5 minutes. There we go, easy.
Yep. The quick meme runs are all, or not necessarily even meme runs even, but like the super quick runs are usually very enticing as well, because it's like there's not a whole lot of commitment to that, and you can just be like, hey, there's this, this massive sprawling game that's supposed to take like several hours, and it's super immersive and it's really good, and it turns out if you just get hurt and clip through a wall, you can just literally walk to where the ending happens, and there you go.
Yeah, exactly. Those runs are always fun. I did actually try out a driving game at. We were at UKSG last month, and there was someone had put a GameCube there, and I thought, okay, let's see what's on this. I found, I don't know if anyone remembers this game, WWE Crush Hour.
That sounds very familiar. Is it kind of like wrestling but twisted metal kind of type beat?
Yeah, so it's basically like a wrestling version of a Demolition Derby.
Right.
Style game. Yeah, I'll say, I didn't know whose GameCube it was, but it was also, CD-ROM it was their GameCube. It was really cool. Had a bunch of different games available for us to play. But yeah, so I got to play that, and then I did like a full run of like the career mode as Brock Lesnar.
Right.
And it was so much fun, and like that's the fun thing about marathons, like some of the events as well, is like people will provide like a lot of cool stuff, like consoles and things like that are just set up for people to try. Mm-hmm. So you just start to play some random things. Like we've had that. We had it was supposed to be a kids-friendly like Trivial Pursuit, I think it was.
Right.
It was not kids-friendly at all.
Oh no!
There was some really dodgy questions. For a game that was rated like, I don't know, like 7+. It was like, no.
Really? Oh my gosh.
It was like, these questions should not be here. Someone messed up the age rating of this game.
Right.
But I think it was one of those things where like they've looked at the game and thought, oh, it's a Trivial Pursuit game. Like, what could they possibly do?
Right.
It's like, no.
It's kind of like the same situation as like, the parents gonna, want to buy a game for their kid or, buy a movie for their kid. So they're like, hey, Akira, that's a cartoon. My kid likes cartoons. Let's get them Akira. And it's just like the horrifying just blob monster and the gore and all that nonsense. Yeah. And then, and then I had a friend who had an N64. And so, naturally, his parents didn't look at age ratings and saw Conker's Bad Fur Day and went, that's child-friendly. And, yep.
Really not.
Yeah, it isn't, but we were able to kind of keep it under wraps at the very least. Because, when you're a kid, you're like, oh wow, this is stuff we shouldn't be playing. Let's play the heck out of it.
Yeah, 100%.
Yep.
Okay, so you mentioned earlier as well, so the tracks that we're on now, so it's basically the same tracks but in reverse.
Yep, the same tracks I just did, except they're all just reverse layout.
And that's how you get extra game content, folks. Just take what you've already got and flip it around.
Yep, absolutely. We gotta pad out the thing and just, make sure they got the most out of however much they shelled out at the flea market for it.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
although that must really mess with like muscle memory and things like that, because like you've done a track and then all of a sudden you've got to try and do everything in reverse.
In a way, but essentially, like if you do this game enough, like obviously you can just kind of compartmentalize each of them into just kind of their own treat them as their own tracks, the same way the game kind of does, at least. So I was talking a lot about the spiral in Teeth Pass, like going uphill. Going downhill, that's a completely... You have to tackle that in a completely different way. So that's the most egregious example that I can think of in terms of, like, differences between the two. Because you can't simply feather the gas and just have, like, the uphill and the down... You know, the uphill just kind of slow you down reasonably enough where you don't just careen. When you've got gravity pulling you downwards, it kind of makes the feather, you know, feathering the gas kind of thing not very much a, not as viable. But,
yeah, I see what you mean.
Yeah.
Whilst I've got a chance as well, I should talk about what's coming up soon as well. So the current incentive that is open is to pick the color of the car for the Need for Speed Carbon Run. Well, the Carbon Race, I should say. That's actually coming up next. So you've only got, what, probably about just over like 40 minutes or so to be able to get like donations in towards that?
Yeah, probably about, 20 to 30.
Oh,
bigger.
Okay, yes. Yeah, so if you want to change the car color, because currently, I'll give you guys an update of where we're at the moment. So currently in the lead is the green option. So apparently people want to see the green car, which is on £31, but red is very close behind. It's only on 29, so it needs £3 for that to overtake. The white option is on £5 with black and blue both being currently on 0. So if you want to choose the car colour for the Need for Speed Carbon Run, get your donations in. Again, you can do it by !donate in chat. You can do it below using the button to donate, or we've also pinned it on the chat at the top as well. So you can get your donations in and you can choose the car colour for the next run.
I love Need for Speed Carbon. Hot take, I like it better than Most Wanted. I know I know I'd get crucified for that, but I honestly like the structure of it a little bit more, and the fact that it's a little bit more short and sweet, honestly. Does a lot of things interesting. The only like major gripe I have is I really enjoyed the cop chases in Most Wanted. But, so, you at least have you had an incentive to engage with them in that game. But in Carbon, you do whatever you can to avoid them, which, I find a little bit on the lame side, but, yeah.
That's fair. I think, now I think about the Need for Speed series, I think, and people are probably going to judge me even more for this, the first Need for Speed game I think I played was Hot Pursuit.
Are we talking Hot Pursuit 1, or are we talking the 2010 Hot Pursuit?
The 2010 Hot Pursuit.
It's honestly a banger, really.
Yeah.
Yeah, I granted it's Burnout with licensed cars, but at the same time, it's still a really fun game, that kind of thing. I know when that came out, I was kind of, in the idea of like, oh, this customization, whatever, kind of, street racing kind of stuff's kind of, it's dumb now or whatever. I want to go back to when I was a little kid and just, exotic cars and exotic locations, and then the trailer for that drops and I'm just like, oh my goodness! But, yeah.
Yeah, I don't remember why I got it, because like I'd never played a Need for Speed game before, and I was just like, okay, you know what, let's give it a try. Mm-hmm. Actually really fun. I actually really did enjoy it, to be fair.
Yeah.
So
there are a bunch of really good just arcade style racers and such.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like some can be enjoyed with pretty much almost every installment of Need for Speed, and I do levy that almost pretty heavily, because there's at least one that I'm just like, yeah, no, we're good. I'm not keen on playing it at all. I don't know if I want to divulge exactly which one that is, but I feel like it's a sentiment shared by a lot of people in the community as well.
Yeah, that's fair.
So. Let's see here. Around this time, like this was in between Porsche Unleashed and Hot Pursuit 2, actually, in terms of timing. So, I've heard a lot of people gas up Porsche Unleashed, or at least the PC version. I've never played the PC version, but I hear it's like supposed to be bigger. It's supposed to be like revolutionary in terms of like driving physics and such, or for the time. There's a simulation aspect pretty decently, and then the PlayStation version was essentially just, hey, let's do V-Rally except it's Porsches.
Well, I'd say I suppose at the time it was like the popular thing, wasn't it? Like Porsche was still, it was just growing in popularity a lot.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. Okay, so back at the castle.
Back at the castle. I'm not so keen on this track in particular. I know a handful of people really like it, but it's at best okay for me. But sometimes, like those narrow walkways or whatever, especially around the moat, if you get the wrong power up there, and you'll be careening off the edge, and I'm definitely not a fan of that. So, especially considering it can happen quite a lot in a singular playthrough. So, uh-oh, that's not good. Well, that's the first time I've ever been embedded into the wall, so that's a first. Also, I have zero idea how well I'm doing in relation to PB, if I'm being honest with you. So, we just kind of go.
Yeah, we just drive. We'll finish at some point. It's all good.
Yep. Just as long as I'm not overestimate, which I doubt I'll be overestimate. So, like something would have to go catastrophically wrong.
Quick, everyone touch something wood now.
Yeah. Yeah. And I've been small. That's not a good response to all that.
There we go.
Yep.
That's it. You're constantly going to get trolled now by the game. That's what's
oh my goodness! Now. Stop speaking into existence! Oh no!
Twice in a row.
Yep. Let's see here. Since I'm scraping the bottom of the barrel of stuff to really talk about, as evidenced by the fact that I gabbed on about Need for Speed for probably about 10 minutes already. So, in regards to the urns, the speed boosts or whatever, if you have... Whichever one you grabbed last is the one that overrides the last one. So, there's a very good chance that if I grab a big urn and then run over an item box and get a small urn, it's going to honor the small urn more, so that means you big urn, that means I lose out on all the extra boosts that the big urn would provide. Which is definitely not a thing you want. Way back when, we used to call that just being ratioed. Embedded. Oh. And got a good bump off of one of my AI opponents. That's very nice. But, yeah. It's also heartbreaking when it happens, when you get... That was just my carelessness. It's always heartbreaking whenever something that slows you down to a crawl no matter what just happens while you're in the middle of a good boosting run as well. But that's just how the game's played. So.
Is there any way to like quickly remove like negative
nope.
like stuff, or is it just deal with it?
You have to wait it out. And with the exception of the flashbang, but because you can, as I said, you can cheese that by pausing the game, which is something that some people do. Not really my style.
Yeah, it's kind of like if you fall for that, then it's kind of like just deal with the consequences of your actions, basically.
For sure. Well, I mean, I'd hesitate to call it consequences of your own actions because you run over all those item boxes to hopefully get something beneficial. And it ain't your fault that 2 of those items actively hurt you.
Yeah, so yeah, it's like, I see what you mean. Yeah, so it's more RNG based than actually like what you're choosing to do. Yeah.
Yep. There's a big reason as to why RNG plays a big factor into how quickly, how good your overall time is going to be. And, I mean, Suya, I really agree. Like, I'm not a fan of, like, harmful pickups in the slightest. Like, I would really like I really like an itemless mode, personally, but, not necessarily a big demand for that. And especially, like, when it comes to, doing this with friends, having to have that, like, kind of constant threat of just something could trip you up or whatever, it kind of adds to the fun, like, the party aspect of it. So, it's whatever. It's part of the game. You deal with it same way you deal with anything else.
Yeah, it's like things that negatively impact you. I don't mind it too much if it's like just a minor thing, only like a few seconds. Like, racing game, like you're temporarily blinded for like 2 seconds or something like that.
Yeah.
Or like the screen like changes or something impacts the screen, so like you can't see what you're doing, or like your controls are, you stopped like in some way for a couple of seconds.
Yeah.
Like that's fine, but like ones where it's like, if you get one of these, you're going to struggle to win the race. It's like, yeah, that's a bit too much.
Yeah, for sure. And there's always the threat of, like, constantly just getting rolled by just, bad luck after bad luck after bad luck, too. Same as any other kart racer as well.
Yeah. Or even if like they were to do where, like, if you get a negative impact, there's a way to remove it. So like, I'm thinking Mario Kart now. Like, if you get inked, you can just drift and boost, and it washes it off.
Right.
It's like something like that, where there's like a mechanic to get rid of it.
Right. I've just kind of like reminded a little bit of like the times like way back when Crash Team Racing Nitro Fueled was like brand new. Like, being online and, having decent lead in the race, and all of a sudden I just get absolutely bodied by, like, 5 different warp orbs sent by, like, 5 different players, and just constantly just effectively just blue shelled, like, impact after impact after impact.
Yeah, that's like that sort of thing. Yeah, nah.
Yeah.
Although I know technically you can avoid a blue shell, but like it's like, yeah, it's just like it's still the same sort of thing of it's still annoying.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like if you get hit like 3 in a row.
Absolutely. I mean, if you were like really good at like how the game works, knowing the layout and knowing how to keep hold of like blue boosts, like the max boost or whatever, you could hypothetically outrun those effectively blue shells or whatnot, which you feel like you're on top of the world if you're able to do that.
Yeah.
So, just adds to the, the skill ceiling a little bit. It would be interesting if somehow, if somebody outrageously dedicated enough were to actually make kind of like an online version of this game. That'd be interesting to see, if I'm being perfectly honest with you, but I don't see that happening. Still, would be an interesting kind of development or, thing to experience. So.
Yeah, I think that's the thing with like a lot of racing games. The second you hit like co-op, not co-op, sorry, versus or online multiplayer, like it just creates a whole new dynamic.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So we're on the line. So what track number are we on now?
We are currently on, I'm gonna say 17. So we're getting pretty close here. And not only that, this is mine, so it's the shortest track in the game. Like, this is gonna be maybe a smidge over 2 minutes if RNG doesn't really cooperate with me, but still very still pretty quick. I'm just happy that, I'm on one of my 2 favorite tracks in the game, which people have kind of... people have kind of side-eyed me a little bit for, What do you mean you like mine and also like Teeth Pass? That doesn't make any sense, because, respectively, longest track and shortest track. Yeah, I immediately got strong. Yeah.
That's happened twice now. We've mentioned about, as long as nothing goes majorly wrong, and then get shrunk straight away.
Yep, immediately. Yep. But we don't have much longer, really, to go. I hope this run, I don't know if I've done all that good a job of really showcasing the game's charm or, the sort of skill, emblematic in a game like this, but I hope at least a few people see this and kind of go, you know what? Let's give it a try. Just even if it's horrible, let's just do it and just say we did it, and if it sucks, never have to touch it again type beat.
Yeah, say do the old-fashioned thing that a lot of people have done on the board, just one run and done.
Yep.
So, yeah, even still though, that's cool. The fact that you grew all the way to like over 80 runners on the board, which is insane.
Yeah.
Like when I saw the game, especially when I do my hosting stuff, I look at the game that I'm going to be doing. I try not to look too much because I'm like, I want to kind of experience it as well. But I was like, how did this game get 80 plus people? Like, it didn't look like a game to me that should get that sort of community, if you see what I mean. Like, it's like, what about this game does that? I've learned it very quickly though.
Absolutely, yeah. We get the propaganda going from a very handful of very dedicated people.
Yeah, that's the thing. Sometimes that's all you need as well. Like, you might not have the most amazing game with like all these cool tricks that you can do, but it's like you've still developed a really cool, like, fun, niche. And yeah, even things like that, like bigger, like some little things like that, just make it really cool.
Yep. It's always nice to have the little in-joke or traditions or whatever. Oh, and yeah. I lost it. Heartbreaking. Oh, bigger. Okay, cool. Yeah.
Never mind.
Yep. So that little part off to the right that I just passed or whatnot, that's kind of one of those places where it's a little deceptive as to where you can go. So I've definitely run into that a handful of times, like early on, where it's just like, what do you mean I can't go through here? But sometimes the way the track's laid out is a little confusing. I do appreciate seeing the joining in of Big Earn in chat. I do enjoy the audience participation, in the community traditions, shall we say. And a handful of the people that are in chat actually have done runs of their own. I nice. Recognize a handful of names in there, but that was my carelessness. I just ran into a parked car.
Yeah, I shouldn't have parked there.
Yeah. Oop. So, here we go.
Yeah, but as we're sort of approaching the end of this run, I should have a final reminder for people to get your donations in towards the next run's incentive to choose the car color, which is Need for Speed Carbon. So if you want to have the last minute influence to change the color of the car, you only have a very limited window now to get your donations in, so get them in as soon as possible. And give me something to read. I want to read donations.
Yeah. Well, we could keep reading the TV Tropes page.
I mean, we absolutely could. I mean, you're definitely not wrong. So let's warm up the voice now. So we've explained the law. Hang on, just got to sort out the ads on my thing. There we go. Nope, I want to see the ads. That's fine. my ad block is not letting me view the page now. It's like...
Oh, no.
Hang on. Ad block. Allow on this page. Thank you. There we go. Okay.
giggles in U-Block Origin.
So we've discussed the lore. So apparently, so Monster Racer offers 10 default playable monsters. Those being Frankenstein's monster, a mummy, a witch, a vampire, a werewolf, a Bigfoot, I can't say this word, succubus. Succubus?
Succubus.
Yeah. Succubus, that's the one. I apparently can't do words today. A poltergeist, a skeleton, and a scarecrow. 2 more racers need to be unlocked, which are an imp and a devil, which I imagine you do by doing certain levels in certain ways.
Yep, so the little goblin guy, that's Gigaton, that's the first boss, and you unlock him by beating the game on medium. And then the second one is Master, and he is the final boss, and you unlock him by beating the game on hard.
Oh, okay, so that's pretty cool. So like, at least you get some kind of reward for going through the higher difficulties.
Yep, or you can just save the passcode, because this game doesn't have a memory card system. In 2001, it still operates off of a password system, so yeah.
I was gonna say, to fair you mentioned that. I just actually saw that saying a curious inheritance of Halloween Racer. Monster Racer utilizes a password save system in lieu of a memory card save system, which to be fair, it's true. Like by 2001, that was the norm, like having memory cards. So still having a password save system is quite cool. And yeah, so passwords are handed out after beating each episode and depend on the chosen racer and difficulty. Oh, okay, so you get different passwords for like easy, medium, and hard, and who you play as well.
Yep.
That's a lot of passwords.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I'm kind of wondering if in the manual there's like a liner notes thing where you can just write those down, what the original Crash 1 has. Like, there's literally a spot in the manual for just writing down passwords.
Okay, so here's the thing on TV tropes. So the password saves are progress in as well as the unlockables from the adventure mode are saved by means of a password system. Passwords consist of 6 numbers and are given out after beating the first episode on normal, after beating the second episode on normal, after beating the third episode on normal, and so on and so forth. Passwords depend on the difficulty and the character, but plus or minus 1 nets you the passwords for another character. So for instance, on easy, malicious passwords are 110143, 220103, 120583, 010573, 100233, and 120873. But if you turn those final 3s into 5s, you've got the passwords for Wolf on easy, and incidentally, to tie the game to Halloween, the password section illustrates the passwords with candy. That's a fun little thing. So effectively, they took a bunch of numbers, they added 1 for each character, so you can unlock them all regardless. So you haven't got to like play every single one to know what their passwords are. You can just kind of guess them.
Right.
Once you know 1.
So either get really good at math or, play the game.
Play the game.
So that is pretty funny. But I wouldn't expect anything less out of this game, if I'm honest with you.
Yeah, I suppose at that point though, like if you're developing a password save system, like you're not going to spend as much time on that. You're going to just allocate a code number to it and just say, okay, just go through a sequence of like 10 numbers and just have one of them be a character.
Right, and especially for however many different instances, because takes into account what level, what difficulty, which character, that sort of thing.
Yeah, literally.
Whew.
Well, yeah, it's like, I mean, I remember like some of the older Game Boy games having the password system. Like, funnily enough, like the game that comes to mind, whenever I think of password system, is, I don't know if anyone's ever played it, a Bugs Bunny game, where you have password system. I can't remember what the game was called in full. I just remember like you having to get to like doors, you had like little cannons. I can't remember what it was called, but like that was like my first experience of a password-based system. I never triggered until probably recently that was in replacement of a memory card kind of issue.
Right. I mean, as far back as like 96, like you could. Games typically had like both at the very least. So I mean, Crash 1. I remember Need for Speed 1 also kind of having a password system too. And then some of them just, it was password or nothing kind of type thing. So that was like Twisted Metal and such. Of course, I mean, the stuff to unlock in those were relatively trivial kind of button presses anyways, so. But yeah.
It's actually bugging me now what that game is called. I'm gonna have to go find out.
It's Bugs Bunny? I'm sorry. Big Earn.
Yeah.
It's 6 in the morning. I'm a little burnt out on good jokes.
Yeah, that's absolutely fair. I believe it's called. Yeah. Bugs Bunny Crazy Castle.
Crazy Castle.
Yeah. There was apparently 4 of them, so I was looking. I think I played 1 of them.
Right. Ooh, we are getting awfully close to the end. We are on the 20th track and on the final boss race. So, after I cross the finish line on the last lap of this, you guys will be rid of me. So, but, yeah. Hope everyone's had a good time, had, enjoyed this lovely game, heard the word of our Lord and Savior, Monster Racer. But yeah, I'd like to hear your thoughts on, what you think overall on what you've witnessed in this game, or, and reading the lore and all that.
Yeah, it's got some very crazy lore, for sure.
Yeah.
But, like, actually looking at the game, like, it looks really, really cool. Like, it just looks like one of those sort of, like, typical, let's make a racing game. Oh, let's base it on Halloween. And it's just like a fun little game just to chill with. Like, it doesn't look like say, it's not a hard game to learn. It's just one of those you just pick up and just have a bit of fun with it.
Yep. And as I've said before, it is best enjoyed with friends also playing the game as well, so. 'Cause then you can, like, shout out, oh, Big Earn, or just, oh, no, I got smalled, or, oh, I got flashbanged, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, and map design-wise, you can clearly see it's like a, typical PS2 style, like, you're getting stuck in the wall, things like that, like, just little things.
Yep.
But sometimes that's what makes them fun.
Mm-hmm. Can I interest you in doing a run of this? Or maybe or are you going to be like, I'll stick with the Harry Potter, actually?
Potentially, if I find time. That's my thing.
For sure.
That's the only thing I have. Like, I haven't had time to do my own runs, let alone this one. So.
True, and I mean, I have to work tonight, so I totally get it too, so. Yeah. Alright, we are rounding the corner. We're starting the final lap. And yeah. So, did anyone speak up for Red Corvette, or are we looking pretty? No. Are we looking pretty green Corvette? Corvette gang now.
We're going green at the moment, but there's still time. There's only £3 that would take it make Red take over. So you've still got a chance because you still have the intermission as well.
GG across the line.
There we go, and that's time. But yeah, that was very, very good fun.
Absolutely. So here's the lovely ending to this game, very rich, as you've read off the lore. Here's the, the ending cutscene that ties all this together, and, all your questions will be answered with this masterful, masterful ending and, FMV goodness.
I'm still not sure what I'm looking at right now. This is what's just like, what is that?
And there we are. All your questions have been answered. We have wrapped up the story.
Well, that was certainly the experience of that final cutscene. But yeah, thank you for the run there, Thrasher. Before we head off for a little outro, is there anything that you want to close off with? Any want to shout out you want to give?
I absolutely would love to shout out the Monster Racer community, the folks that came out to watch this run. Thank you very much for showing up and hanging out in chat and, donating and supporting this marathon. I always love it when McRaeathon comes around. I always consider it the home marathon. Supporting a great charity. You for hosting, of course. Thanks for riffing with me on this and making sure I don't drown out here by myself. So, Viper, of course, for handling a lot of spearheading this. Hyperlink for a lot of the back end stuff. Kenzie as well. And just generally the community that really makes this a good speed game, a good speed community as well, for Monster Racer and such. But yeah.
Cool. I'll say, absolute pleasure watching that run alongside you there, Thrasher. It was good fun to be involved in as well. We're going to go to a very short intermission, hopefully, whilst we set up for the next run, which is going to be the Need for Speed Carbon. This is also the end of my hosting shift, so I'm going to be handing over the hosting reins to Nordic. So you've got a fantastic host coming in for you. And yeah, we will be back very shortly. So get yourself some water, get yourself hydrated, and we'll be back for some more McRaeathon Presents a Blast from the Past 2000. Don't go anywhere.